Hello everyone. So in this video we are going to see what is the role of this variable in AngularJS and how we can use it to create a different instance of a controller. So if you heard about the controller instance, we can create the controller instance using controller as syntax. Like in a single page application where we are executing a controller method from a different location, we are executing a common code, but whenever we are firing a call from different location, the output should not impact each other's. Like if I'm executing this method from location 1, then the output should not get reflected to other locations. I mean, to provide a separations of a method execution, we need to use a different instance of that controller if we want a different output or different functionality. So in that case, we need to use a controller as syntax. Like in the ng controller, I use my controller as this is instance 1, this is instance 2, this is instance 3. And the scope of this controller instance is till here. So then second controller, then third controller. So controller as, it means whatever you will execute or whatever the variable you will get, you always need to use controller instance dot method name, controller instance dot variable name. So you see I'm executing say hello method on the controller instance first, say hello, and I'm passing this message. So I'm just whatever I'm doing, like this is my controller. I'm not using the scope. Just to repeat, whenever you are using this variable, then the usability of scope is just lost. You can use the same thing using this variable also. You're not storing the data here in scope or root scope. You are just getting the data into the method and returning that to the controller. So here I'm getting this message and returning it to the my data. Now you see that I'm firing this method with different messages from 3 different locations. But you see the execution of this method by passing one as a parameter, this is not going to impact this instance second, and the execution of this is not going to impact any other. So you see the output of this is like I'm passing this instance 1, so it will impact only the first one. When you are executing the second one, then it is going to print this. It is not going to impact the first and third one, because if you are not creating the instance, then when you are executing the first one, it will show all 3 different places equal to instance 1, instance 1, instance 1, but they are now isolated. They have a different scope of execution. That's why they are printing the different values. So to how to use this variable, you just need to create a controller as, this is instance name dot method name and dot variable name, and in the controller you can define like this this is the function, this is just the same function that you want to declare. This is the controller, and then this dot method name equal to function. Earlier we were using scope here, scope dot method or scope dot my data. Now that is replaced with this variable. So what this variable is doing, this variable will execute isolatedly for individual instance. When you pass 1, it will return the message 1. When you pass 2, it will return the message 2. So my data will have a separate copies for individual instances. Instance 1 will have its own copy of my data. Instance 2 will have its own copy of my data. This is an important concept, and it is required, like wherever there is a requirement, like we want to execute a common method but with a different functionality from different locations of your application, then you have to create a different instance of your controller if you want to keep the isolation between the executions. So this is an important thing being used. It's also the advantage that you are not going to store anything in the scope. You can do with the traditional approach this variable. Thank you everyone.